Okay, so Mar, now it is your turn, yeah, to talk about the case of Córdoba. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, you will see me many times. Okay, so now I would like to present what we have been doing in our case study. Okay, so in Córdoba, we have worked on social transformation through culture and nature. And we did it in one of the most socioeconomically deprived neighborhood of Spain, right? Not only of Córdoba, but of Spain. So we decided to work in Las Palmeras, and we started doing it in the middle of pandemic. So if you imagine how was the lockdown in Spain, imagine in a neighborhood like this one, right? With all the problems from informal economy to whatever you want to imagine. So what we spent more than 1 year just understanding the local context. What was the health and well-being situation? What had been past experiences with other projects? What were the local assets? Very important, not only the negative part, but also the positive one. And also knowing or getting familiarized with other projects and institutions working in the neighborhood. We use different type of participatory tools, as you can imagine, but I would like to highlight two of them. One was the door-to-door information about the project. We knocked about 700 doors explaining to the people what was this project about, but listening to them, learning from them, what do they understood by health and well-being, and so on. And I think it was also very important that when we came to the neighborhood, it was not that nothing happens before or nothing happens after. There was a whole history, many people working there and so on. So we work creating synergies with them. We have here some of the people we have been working with. And we're very proud. They open their doors to us and we open our doors to them and we have worked together. I would like to emphasize some things that make these things happen. One was to work with the skilled and experienced people. I mean, we hire people that knew how to work in this vulnerable neighborhood, and also were not so young and unexperienced people. And we spent a lot of time building trust in the project, in us creating a setting of this process, and that's, as I said, very time and effort consuming. We need to overcome skepticism. Why? Because people is very skeptical in this neighborhood. Many projects come and go. Nothing happens. The big expectation and nothing after. And as I said, listening, but especially listening to the traditionally excluded or neglected, these people that normally don't have a voice in decision-making or even in creating their needs or expressing their needs. And we had to adapt our working method to the real needs of the neighborhood. We had to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning. Javi is there at 7 o'clock in the morning. If we need to be there at 10 in the night, Nuria, Javi, Isota, they were there, right? So that's very important to understand this. Also, our key pillar I mentioned in my first intervention was our in-hub. We created an inclusive governance structure that was polycentric, bottom-up, open, and flexible, including local residents, private, public, university sector. And the core was what we call the neighborhood committee, right? The citizens, the local citizens, and all the institutions and associations working there. They knew what they needed, and they expressed it. And we then started co-design, co-creating with them. Once we have clear what do we have to do, we went to the next circle of our in-hub, that was the city neighborhood committee. We found people in Córdoba, in the city, or association or businesses or wherever that could help us to make reality the demands. And then there was a feedback process where we understood each other and we realized what could be done with the resources, the assets we had, right? So our in-hub was the place to shape interventions, and to ground decision-making, right, in order to make it according to the local needs and perspective. It was a place for dialogue, for collaboration, for networking. And then we co-create our action plans, designing interventions that combine both the hard and the soft Bs. We co-deploy actions, very, very important, with the local people and also with the institutions and companies in Córdoba. All of us build capacities and create co-management opportunities. We have co-designed the assessment framework, as I mentioned before, but I would like to highlight these three words. The way of working allows us appropriation. It was not nothing imposed by the commission, by the university, by research. No, it was something created between all, but with a special focus on those that had needs. We created sense of place. It's their place, not inhabit. Well, it's inhabit, but inhabit, all of us are inhabit right now. And also the ownership of all the different actions. Here you have some examples of the huge amount of soft Bs we did, creating these intangible processes. We did cultural events. You remember, culture and heritage is our focus in Córdoba. So culture activities, health, well-being, sport, healthy lifestyle, educational, culinary event. I would like to highlight also the inclusive communication system we created, because we understood these people is not ready. So what can we do to make them really understanding what was done? Videos, a monthly radio program, because in the neighborhood there's a radio station. We just open accounts in the social networks the people in the neighborhood is using, and we disseminate all these things. We don't have here today Marta, but Marta has done an amazing job making videos after videos. And then the people create this made in Palmeras. They feel very proud now of being Palmeras. We fight stigma. It is a very stigmatized neighborhood in Córdoba, right? So we are contributing to change this image. And our heartbeats, first one, the picnic area. You will see. You will see all these things later on. Wait a little bit. But they didn't have any place for leisure and socialization in the neighborhood, so that was the first demand. And then we did this picnic area. We wait for days, for weeks, for months. It was not vandalized. So I said, wow, let's keep doing. It works, right? Then the next demand was, let's refurbish and revitalize the central square that was gray, degraded, ugly. And now it's full of colors, you will see. Then, okay, we don't have trees. We need renaturalization. We need more something, vegetation, green. So we planted more than 300 trees. Now they're still small trees, but they will grow for sure. More than 800 bushes. We created this environmental corridor. And last but not least, just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we inaugurated the largest art street mural in Córdoba. An amazing job of around 400 square meters that was done in collaboration with our Colombian colleagues. So an artist from Bogota came from Ciudad Bolívar, another marginal neighborhood in Bogota, and painted this amazing piece of art you will see later on. Okay, some outcomes. In our final focus group with the famous Las Vecinas, now are very famous, those are the words that emerge. Ownership, together with effort, all right? Nothing came top down. Everything was done with a lot of effort from everyone, right? But also well-being, Palmeras, of course, merendero, women, vandalism, but vandalism is lack of vandalism, all right? You can see here our timeline. First, we planted our first tree in 2021. 3 weeks later, there was no tree. Disappeared, right? Okay, then we keep working. 2022, we do our picnic area. No more vandalism at all in the neighborhood, because it's their picnic area. They did it. They created it. right? And all the things after have not been, nothing has been vandalized after. You can see also here in this table how the use of the spaces has changed. People are, now they have a place to go and they are using and they are happy with this. But also you can see here in this, the columns, the graph, is we decided to also to check what was the news in the local media, the news about Palmeras. Palmeras is always negative news. There are conflicts, drugs, traffic, riots, wherever. So we decided to check if this image was changing. And then you see that thanks to the project, there's a lot of positive news about Palmeras now in the city, in the local media. And we also think that's very important. We want to change this image. Of course, there are problems. Nothing is perfect, especially in this type of neighborhoods. But things change. But that was not only the only place we work. Then we moved to replicate our working method to a homeless shelter. And now we will not have the opportunity to visit this, but it's also an amazing job. We decided to work with homeless people and we replicate the method. So we organize weekly workshops. Now we have created an urban orchard in the house, a therapy garden, and also a pilot patio that will be the patio of the future, I can tell you. So we do the same. We first do create social skills. These people change a lot. We don't have anyone that has been with us in the almost 3 years of working. None of them has been for 3 years in the shelter, in this house. So we started training social skill, inclusion, creating community, cohesion, because those are people that don't have these skills. And then we work physically, making this a garden and so on. So, and we are measuring what happened. So you can see here that before doing this physical exercise or these social meetings, there are not big differences between how feel the people that is working with us and those that are not following our workshop. But you can see the big differences after. So there's an immediate well-being. We cannot expect anything else because we don't have a longitudinal analysis, but immediately it works. And here you have some quotes, some quotation. They say, that's more than a garden. It's a refuge to heal, to reconnect, to feel part of something that is shared, but it's alive, it's nature, it's changing, right? And they see the changes. And another one that for us was very shocking, it was from a Moroccan migrant. He said, I'm not a number, I'm not a file, I'm Mohammed, and in habit recognize it. So that was really impressive. But we also did more things, more technological, digital things. We created this citizen science platform, and actually we are monitoring the environmental and social performance of 24 patios in the historical city center. And we are launching now our first citizen science-based map of acoustic climate. To our knowledge, there's nothing similar in the world. We have been checking. So next week, we launch a workshop. People can come, can create their sensor, put in pots, and they can put these pots in the windows, terrace, balconies, and we will be measuring in a collective way the noise in the city. Where else? Last but not the least, you can see the result now. We created an immersive experience to train people with disabilities. So we have now this game that can be played with tablets. They are training. These people have been trained for several weeks to welcome today to us, right? And tomorrow. They're very proud, and we are also very proud of what we did. Okay, just to finish, because my time is over. What are our final pills? First, culture and heritage can promote health and well-being, especially of the people that have more limited access to health and well-being. We are transforming public spaces, but through social activation. For us, the final outcome is not the space, but the social transformation. But we need to acknowledge the multiple dimensions and views of inclusive health and well-being, making visible the invisible, listening to the people because they're the real experts. They know what are the needs, not what we think are the needs. Working with bottom-up approaches, understanding that processes of working with vulnerable people can be much more relevant, much more important than final outcomes. And even if our results were slower, took a lot of time, we are pretty convinced that they will deliver bigger and long-lasting impacts. So thank you very much to all the people that did possible this. That is a big team of people that we have been working together. So, Paldis, Requiem, thank you, grazie, gracias, Inhabit people. Thank you.